All right, we're ready.
Good morning. Good
Morning.
morning, ladies, and all of our coffee talk guests.
Morning.
It is Tuesday again, and we decided to take a break from our typical learning topics to talk about. Well, this is learning. We're learning too. We're just not learning about Westminster Village today in particular. We're going to learn about online dating and that whole world. And I mean, we suspect that during the pandemic and this whole COVID lockdown that people are feeling a little bit restless again. It comes and goes, but and eager for some personal interaction and contact and communication. And maybe we're getting bored with just our group of friends, and it's time to branch out a little bit. So why not get online on an online dating site? I noticed in that an increase in the commercial presence of like Our Time. You see that a lot more now, and eHarmony and Christian Mingle. We're seeing those commercials on the TV right now, and that got us thinking that maybe there's an increase in online dating. And so let's jump into that and tell our friends a little bit more about it. So that's what we're going to do today. Is it possible? We did a lot of research and had a lot of fun preparing for this too. So, all right, let's jump in. These are the things that we're going to cover. We're going to talk about the different dating sites that are out there and dating type services. What does it actually look like? Rebecca set up a profile so that we can jump into an actual dating site, and so that you can see exactly what it looks like to set up an account and see others and connect with other people online. Sarah did some research on safety tips. So there's a lot of things to know and to look out for if you're going to venture into the world of online dating. And we also have some tips for success to share with you as well that we discovered during our research. So one of these statistics, I believe, if I think I'm right, Rebecca, came from, was it Christian Mingle site?
No, actually, that came from pewresearch.org is where this came.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, sorry about that. We found that right now about 50 million people are dating online. That's a huge industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huge. That's why you'll see in a minute how many options there are. And then 13% of US seniors 65 and older are actually on dating sites. That number, I'm sure, is increasing just day by day. And then we learned from these statistics as well that 5% of those have actually married or found love online. And you have two products of that here today. Yay. Yay, two testimonials. So these are actually some of the sites that you may have seen advertised online or on TV. Probably that eHarmony, that older gentleman with that wonderful calming voice. It seems very trustworthy. That seems like a good site to me. Our Time is one that I've noticed an increase in advertising in this area. And we've probably heard of Christian Mingle as well. There's sites that are kind of breaking out and serving a specific group of the population with a specific interest. Silver Singles, obviously, being one that's more directed toward older adults. Mature Dating kind of being is another one of those. Match.com is probably one of the older sites. Is that right, Match? Or what did you find, Rebecca, to be one of the oldest sites that are out there?
So original. Match.com and Christian Singles are two of the oldest ones. Christian Mingle has been out for a really, really long time, actually. And Match.com, it's I think pretty much the original. That's where it all kind of started.
I've also heard of sites that focused on people who live in the country, or like farmers only. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's definitely different sites that are directed toward different dynamics. There are some that are directed toward the younger crowd, typically 18 to maybe 30. Then we have silver singles that are typically 55 and older dating sites. There are sites for different races. You know, if somebody's looking to keep, you know, stay in the same race. Even, you know, who your love interest is. There's sites for that too. So it's very dynamic. There's lots of different options. I went and looked through them all, and it was overwhelming how many options people really have. I specifically picked these out that you see here because they do have 55 and older kind of set limits on them.
Perfect. Good. Well, let's jump into each one a little bit more so you can understand what each site kind of specifically focuses on.
So these particular sites were actually listed in this order, starting at silver singles, as the top sites for people 55 and older. Silver singles came up number 1, and I'm going to kind of tell you the difference between them. So silver singles was best for romance and companionship. It definitely has the personality test, and we're going to actually take a look at that one in particular. But it matches you based off of what you like, what you're looking for in a partner, your interests. The next is Our Time. This one's for 50 and older, so it's got a broader spectrum. It's definitely user-friendly. It also does a targeting match, but I don't know about the personality. I know that, you know, silver singles really did an in-depth personality test, which was nice. Match.com, very similar to silver singles. I felt like it also had the kind of the personality test, but that one is best for expert matchmaking. So it goes more in depth of, they have somebody that probably goes through and then kind of says, okay, these two look like a match, so we're going to set you guys up. Zoosk is good for relationship building. It's easy to use, and it has more safety features, so it's really up to you. Zoosk does go through Facebook, so that's something to keep in mind, is that people can see your Facebook, or can easily find you easier on Facebook through Zoosk. So it's kind of weighing your pros and cons. Elite singles, that's more for professionals. So you're going to find a lot more retired, probably professors, engineers, things like that. So it's based off of your education level is how they kind of compare you together. It also has the personality test. Christian Mingle, if you are a Christian single or Catholic, it helps you look for somebody with the same kind of religious beliefs as you. So you can mark in there, I'm looking for Catholic men, or I'm looking for Baptist, or, you know, definitely you're not going to find any atheists on there. So it's really kind of, it's more based off of religious beliefs, which is great. eHarmony it's truly looking for serious relationships. It does verify your identity, which is a big deal. I don't know if it's by taking a picture. I know some of them, you have to send them a picture of yourself doing a peace sign or holding up something that has a code on it so that they know that you're really who you say you are. You're not, what are they calling it, catfishing anyone by using maybe a picture that doesn't look like you. And they also do, most of them are pretty consistent with the personality test, which is nice.
So there was a whole like documentary type movie, right, done on catfishing and stuff.
There's a whole,
tell us about that a little bit more, both of you, what you know about catfishing, because people may not know what that term is.
Okay, so catfishing, it is actually a TV show. Neve and Max go around. So Neve was actually catfished himself, and so he created the show, and they meet with people who think they are being what they call catfishing. And what that means is that somebody uses a different picture than what's really them. So it might be somebody who's self-conscious about themselves, or maybe it's a woman that doesn't, you know, is exploring her sexuality or things like that and is uncomfortable coming out. So they use maybe a picture of a man to talk to women, or somebody from another country could be spamming. So then they use a picture of somebody, a very attractive woman or gentleman, and then they talk to you, and then they try to typically ask for money, gift cards. A lot of times they'll ask for gift cards or money orders. So don't ever do that, but we'll get into the details of the safety thing. But catfishing is when you're not being authentically yourself. You are using somebody else's photos, somebody else's name.
Identity.
Yes, changing your age. Definitely don't change your age. I know it's easier to put that we're maybe 5 years younger on there, but it will come out eventually. So just be honest and authentic. I was talking to a friend this weekend, and he said that he was talking to this woman. He found out she was 55 and not 49. And he was said, why lie? You know, I'm going to find out, I'm going to know. And now I'm uncomfortable. And I feel like you've been lying to me.
Yeah.
So just be honest. I know I don't want to put my age out there, but I don't think any woman does.
Does that, Sarah, I mean, I know you do tons of like research and read about lots of different things. Is that a term that, and we haven't talked about this before, I apologize if you don't know, but is catfishing a term that they specifically coined because with the online thing, or is there some background to that word? Do you know?
It's like more recent term because basically people change their identities. So you could be thinking you're talking to Joe in, the next town over, and really you're talking to Miguel in Spain or something. So you just, and some people do. I mean, some people just, and that's one of the safety things is there are people that have their motivation is obviously not dating or being honest or something, and finding a relationship. And so they just call it catfish because it's taking on a different identity than what you think. Yeah.
So I actually looked up the term and where it originated. And it's because fishermen used to put sea catfish in with the cod that they caught because it would nip at their tails and keep them active during overseas transport to keep them lively and fresh. So the term catfish is because it was kind of a fake way to keep the fish alive and going.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So they're keeping their account alive, or themselves, having a more lively social life.
Interesting.
I was just gonna say on some of the TV shows, and they talk about specifically like Eastern European countries, I'll have a lot of Ukrainian women or Russian women, that want to come over, something like that get on dating sites. That's kind of wild.
Yeah. But I think over the years, I mean, would you agree that based on the research that these websites have found and figured out ways to try to make sure that a person is being authentic? And
I was really shocked because, I was talking to a friend, and he's 55 and older, and he uses the dating sites. And he said, he showed me his Tinder profile or Bumble, and it had a little verified check mark, which I'd never seen before. And so I asked him, he said, yes, I had to send a picture with, myself putting the peace sign up or making a certain face. And I think that's wonderful because then, you're truly talking to who you think you are. Because I think the biggest way people catfish is through pictures, changing that image, kind of deceiving people into thinking that maybe you're more attractive or thinner or things like that, but you want an authentic person. Mm-hmm. So I do feel like they've come up with ways to definitely make it more secure and safer, and definitely harder for a catfish to utilize the site. Because personally, I created that Christian Mingle site, and I was kicked off because the picture didn't match the name. It certainly didn't. It was really my picture, but I had put up a different name, and it didn't match. And it made total sense that they kicked me off, and I understood it completely and was really impressed that they did that.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, how did they know that wasn't your name?
Because I marked 77 years old, and my picture was at the
somebody checked it. And one of the things I've seen commercials for on Match.com is they have on here live social events. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of a way that helps people who really are, sincere and wanting to even find a companion or a friend, or like you said, because of the pandemic, just other people. And at some point we will, get to be together again in social situations like that. But they have like cooking classes and things, where people like maybe a whole group of people that were matched would go to this. And so it's a way to be around other people, and it's not like just you and one other person there. It's a group of people, so it kind of happens naturally.
Definitely come up with safe and creative ways. It's evolving. It's always changing and always getting better.
Yeah. And it's virtual. So you have the safety of being in your home, and nobody knows where your home is. But you are able to socialize with, strangers and get to know them, right? And build relationships online. That's so cool. So it's not just one-on-one, it can be a group dating situation too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. All right, cool. Well, let's jump in here and learn a little bit more. So Rebecca did, like we said, got on a site and set up a profile so that we could show you what it really looks like. And so Rebecca's going to take over and pull up her, let's see, I need to stop screen sharing so that you can. And you're going to pull up your profile, right?
Yep. All right.
We can take a look at everything you have to do if you decide to get on one of these sites, and go for it.
All right. So this is the site that I set up. And if you'll notice, so this is my actual profile page. This is what others see that I've put out there.
And you chose Silver Singles?
Yes. So I did Christian Mingle and Silver Singles. I did make a few other accounts, but I was unable to use them well just due to fees. I didn't want to pay the fee up front. This one also doesn't show people's pictures unless you pay that fee. And I felt like that was a little bit more secure and comforting for them, knowing that their picture is not out here for others to see.
Yeah.
I did not upload a photo on this one because I did not want to be kicked out. Silver Singles is actually connected. It's a sister company with Christian Mingle. So I knew that they would be a little more picky. So I did not put a picture. I put myself in Sanford, Indiana. It had a lot of questions, and I want to go through that with you guys. So it asks my height. It asks about, whether or not I want to have children, my religion, my education level, whether I smoke or not. So this is what others will see on your profile. It does ask some personal questions. Retrospectively, what 3 things are you most thankful for? I was trying to be as honest as I could. Family, God, and friendship are very important. Which 4 terms would your friends use to describe you? Which I feel like is really nice. It kind of has you reflect too at the same time. So good listener, loyal, respectful, affectionate were some of the things I had marked. But you can even choose questions to answer so that others can see more about you. So you can hit choose a question, some things that I don't like, how I describe myself, what my partner should know about me, what I'm looking for, how do I spend my free time. Everyone has passions, so write more about what you're passionate about. Those are some of the specific questions. Things that make me laugh. I think that would be a fun one to do. My strengths. So those are some of the questions that you can ask. It does do a personality test. So I'm going to go through that a little bit with you. Openness. Apparently I'm not a very open person, which I was a little shocked about.
Questions?
Huh?
How did they come to this?
Yeah.
So whenever I first started this whole process of joining, it had a personality quiz. So it asked me, if you were in this situation, what would you do? If you were in this situation, how do you feel about yourself when you're in a room full of people? Do you feel like inverted? Do you feel like you want to talk to everyone? So you get to kind of do a personality quiz. And it was kind of fun. Apparently I'm not very open. So I learned that. Conscientious. I'm pretty much in the middle. There's 40% of the population is more easygoing, but 40% are more disciplined. I could agree with that. I can go either way. Extroversion. Apparently I'm more of an introvert. Maybe not. I don't know. I might have answered that question incorrectly for my own self. So I went through it quite quickly. I recommend taking your time when you're doing it. really kind of thinking through the questions, because I probably didn't answer that one quite accurately. Agreeable. I am very agreeable. No, I'm pretty much in the middle. So that was not too bad. 11% of the population were sensitive, so I'm a little bit of a sensitive person. I learned that about myself. I did not know that. So those are some of the questions that you'll find, and some of the things that they're looking for in order to match you to the right person.
Okay.
Next is you'll fill out your interests. So hobbies that you have, you can just type in, I enjoy sewing. I enjoy, I love a good game of euchre or bridge. I know I love euchre. Sports, I could write in there. I'm a huge New England Patriots fan. Would probably turn a few people away, and that's okay. Yeah, gonna have to swipe left on that one. No. Talk about your music interests. If you like classical music, do you like to go and watch musicals? Do you prefer to stay home and listen to music on the radio? Things like that. Pretty easy and simple, but it gives everybody a chance to get to know you in particular. I want to talk about this. So I went to my account. So you can change your matching settings. So I marked 70 to 94 just because I wanted a broad range of people to look for. But I got to answer some questions about, how important is the age of the person I'm looking for? What about height? Is height important? Do you want your partner to be taller than you? Do you really not care? Apparently I put Sanford, Indiana. I don't know why I did that, but I did. But you can say, I'm willing to look for somebody 100 miles away, or I want to stay right here in Terre Haute. And you can say how important that is. Do you want children? Do you have children living with you under the age of 18? I did lie on that one. That was a catfish. I'm sorry. Your education and income. Is it important that your significant other makes the same amount of money as you, or do you not really care? Is it important that your significant other or friendship, you can create friendships too, has the same education level? Do you care that they smoke? If so, how much smoking is okay with you? How important is that? What about drinking? And then, like I said, Silver Singles is connected with Christian Mingle, but one thing, they do ask about religion. So are you looking for somebody that's Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, what have you? So many options out there. I put no preference just to keep it open, but you can also pick, ethnicity. So white, Black, Native American. Are you looking for a Hawaiian significant other? Exotic? So it's really up to you. There's so many ways to customize the profile. It's incredible. And then I currently have 68 matches. I have 12 visitors on my profile and 20 people that I should meet, according to this.
So you put in all those preferences about your potential partner, and you basically click go, right? And then save or whatever. And then the system matches you up with people.
Mm-hmm. So these are true and real people that are within 100 miles of Sanford, Indiana. So we've got Dan and Danny. You can look at the ages. So they're truly out there, and it shows me how our matching score was 89%. We have 89 little hearts.
Based on the information you put in about yourself and what you want and what they put in about themselves, then the system matches you together.
We have interchanging goals, and we match what we're looking for. So that height, the education, income. I didn't really mark income, but he matches, all the religious beliefs that I had, all those things. Personality. So that personality test comes into play. They look at his versus mine, and maybe he's a little, or he compliments me in a way. So he might be more outgoing while I'm more introverted, or maybe he is more open where I was less open. So we kind of complemented each other.
Why are the pictures blurred out?
So I was going to get into this next. There's options when you're looking at this. So I wanted to show that there's, plenty of guys out here that are on. Look at this. It's just crazy.
Even in their 90s. That's great. Good for them.
I was shocked at how many people were truly on it. And I think that's wonderful. But what you can do is, so all the people are faded out on this one, so you can't see who they are unless you pay a fee. And I know at first you're thinking, well, I don't want to pay a fee to use this. But I feel like it makes it more secure, because if you're paying for it, that means you're really, really wanting to find someone. You're as dedicated as I am, and you're looking for the right reasons. So right now they're running a special, if you will, 21% off. So it's $21.95 for 6 months of the Premium Classic. And what that is you get unlimited communication, so messaging back and forth, intelligent matchmaking, so maybe they go more in depth with their matchmaking process. You get to view the photos. You can see who's viewed your profile, and you can even see when they've read your messages. Mm-hmm. So you can keep tabs, no? So yeah, you can just go through that, and that gives you a way to kind of see. You can definitely get more details that way. There are different options, but this seems to be the best deal. Seems like you get more bang for your buck on this one.
So $21 a month, basically, to have the opportunity to connect and communicate with other human beings, right?
And it could be, truthfully, you can even mark on there. I know one of the questions was, are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking for friendship? Are you looking for marriage? So you can get on there and just meet new people. It doesn't have to be for a serious relationship.
Is the $21.95 just to be able to message on the computer back and forth, or does it involve any secure video chat communications, or how to? No,
it does not. So if you are planning on meeting, then you can give your email address. I would even make a new email address just for this, without any of your personal information in it, and you can send a Zoom link. You can create a Google phone number, and you can do Google FaceTime, Google Duo. That way you can see each other. I always recommend face chatting. I wish that was a thing whenever I was dating, that's for sure. But you didn't really.
The site itself doesn't provide that platform right now.
Okay. It does not. That is a good recommendation, though. I might have to message or customer service and recommend that they come up with that. A safe app to utilize.
Yeah. Interesting. Sarah, do you have any questions about the actual profile and
I don't see any Q&A questions yet.
That's neat to be able to really see what it looks like, I think, for people.
And this is whenever I first log in, this is what I see. Instant. Is all filter. And I have had messages. So since I don't have a picture on there, I have had some gentlemen ask me to upload one.
Please upload a photo. Marilyn.
I haven't, but they have asked. But it's very cool. I think it's really fun to see what all is truly out there. So I'm gonna, since nobody has any questions, I'm going to stop sharing so we can get back to PowerPoint.
Okay.
And I can always pull it up again later if somebody has questions.
Sure. So after today, will you cancel that account? Is that how
I will be canceling that account.
Aww.
I get frequent emails reminding me about questions or reminding me about messages. So if I can kind of get those emails out of my inbox, I had to warn my husband because I made quite a few accounts. And I told my husband, I was like, listen, I'm doing some research, so don't be alarmed if any of your friends reach out and say that I have a profile.
I saw Rebecca on dating site.
I'm like, it's purely educational.
Yeah, right.
Explain that.
Oh, it looks like I have a question here. How difficult is it to cancel the account? It's not. It was really, I've canceled 2 accounts now. There is one, but it was pure user error. That was kind of hard to cancel. It was Match.com. I kept typing in the wrong password because I have so many now dating accounts at that point. So make sure you write down your password. Otherwise, it's extremely easy to cancel. You just go right into here. I can even show you. I'll do it live.
I think most of them are like require a credit card.
No, it didn't require a credit card in order to do it.
Oh, that's good.
So I would go right here to my account and then my membership, and I can cancel it. I haven't tried to cancel this one, so bear with me. Become a member right here. All the members with whom you've been in contact will be deleted from your contact list. So just to delete your profile, you click here. You can tell them why, just so they know. You can write in ways to improve. I'll just go with, I've received too many emails from Silver Singles. And it tries to walk me through. And I'll recommend a webcam option for safety. Continue. Okay, that's right. And it should delete. I no longer have a Silver Singles. So it was as easy as that.
I'm sure it would behoove them to, make it simple because they want real, serious, and interested people participating. When you do the payment option, did it seem like it was like locking you in for a certain period of time, or?
Yeah, so it did say 6 months to get the $21.95. You locked yourself in for 6 months.
Okay, all right. So you kind of know.
But it was $21.95 for the 6 months. So after the 6 months, you would pay another fee. Some of the other ones are a monthly fee, and I'm assuming there's a button or an incentive that they have to do reoccurring payments, kind of like Apple does with, or your phone does with insurance or things like that, or your Ring doorbell does. If you pay for a whole year, you get this amount. If you pay monthly, it's this. So.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That's interesting.
Yeah,
and Sarah is going to share then with us some safety tips that she came across. I'm going to pull them all up here on the screen, Sarah. You go right ahead.
Okay. They're not on my screen.
Oh, you don't see it?
Yeah.
Does anybody see it?
I see it.
Oh,
how about I read it and you can tell more about it?
okay.
So one of them is don't share personal information.
Right. So that one is just kind of common sense. I mean, you don't want to give people your mailing address or your phone number or any information, if you don't know this person, then yeah, you don't want to give out any kind of bank accounts or checking accounts. You may not even want to talk. Oh, now I can see. You may not want to share, that you have grandchildren even. Don't send money, don't send, PayPal accounts or just anything that may sound like people should never ask you for money. There's no reason, if you're just trying to meet people, that you should be sending anybody money. And trust your instincts. If you, if somebody says, I can only talk to you between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. and midnight to 2 a.m., what's going on. And if something doesn't feel right, trust your gut, listen to that, voice in your head that said, this is not normal, because it's probably not, and it's probably is, what they call red flag. Designate a safety buddy and choose public places. This is one where I've actually done this many years ago when I did online, and it's good to let someone know, a friend that you trust that's gonna be there and pick up, and share with that person that I'm going to meet someone maybe at the Olive Garden, and I'm going to arrive at 7 and I'm going to leave at 9 o'clock, and I'll check in with you when I get there, and I'll check in when I leave. And I even went so far with my friend to set up a word, like a safety word, and I would just tell the person that was my buddy, safety buddy, I would be like, well, everything's ducky here. And that meant that I, like, we agreed on that word, and so the person knew, like, if I said that word, that meant I was safe and everything was as it should be. There wasn't any immediate threat. Stay sober and aware of your surroundings, please. Just, be aware that there are people out there that maybe don't have the best intentions. And so just, when you're first going out or talking with someone or meeting someone, just make sure that where you're going is a reputable place, a real place. And maybe, have one glass of wine and instead of maybe 2, and just to keep you sharp and on your toes and seeing what's going on. And then always keep an eye out for scams. Again, there's no reason to ever send anyone money. And I'm trying to think of other kind of scams, or your credit card. And even like with personal information, I've heard stories of people, that just gave out their phone number, and then all of a sudden they get a call from someone they think is their grandson needing to be bailed out of jail, and can you wire this money quickly or something? And so, your first instinct might be to do that, and they just try to catch people off guard is kind of the whole point of scams. And so just be aware of different ones.
I know I was reading some testimonials from some people who had been using the dating sites, and one recommendation was if somebody says that they're a civil engineer and they've gone to Guatemala to build a building, but they don't have the money to get back, don't send the money. They're not in Guatemala. They're not building buildings for orphans.
They'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, that was
hard.
If it's typically, they say that they're a civil engineer and they're going out of the country to do things like that and then can't come back.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you're saying, like, I'm thinking, okay, if I don't give them my phone number, how do I communicate with this person? Is all the communication done on the site, back and forth, until you feel more comfortable and build that trust with that person? Or
so one thing I would recommend is, doing that messaging, and then maybe ask them to upload a picture of them doing something, maybe writing your name on a piece of paper, or writing a number on a piece of paper and holding it up and then posting that picture.
Or the date and time.
The date and time. That's a great one, yeah.
Then that's that.
Pick the word ducky, write everything's ducky on the piece of paper, just because it's not hard to, write a whole bunch of dates on a piece of paper, and maybe that's a common thing. Make it something that's uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they've mentioned they have a favorite coffee mug. Ask them to hold up that coffee mug. I don't know.
That'll help verify who they are, that they are who they say. And then when you set up a time to meet with them too, that is that person, right? And you can recognize them and
maybe say to wear a red scarf if you have it, or I'm going to show up in a red shirt with a red bag to match.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, I mean, you can share your cell phone number. I would probably not give a landline out phone number right away. But talk to the person, email back and forth and see if it's even, worth going to that next step if you think something's going to come up. But yeah, I would really spend a lot of time just talking, in the beginning on the site where it's safe. And then also like Zoom, that's another way where you don't have to necessarily give out your phone number. And like Rebecca was talking about earlier, they have the Google, they will assign you kind of a at random phone number, to use, that you don't have to give out your personal information, or the other person doesn't get it. So there's lots of ways that you can communicate. Skype is one of them. We have friends that twice a month we all get on together in Skype and talk and just kind of check in with each other and see how we're doing. So it's possible.
And a lot of these websites actually have an app that you can put on your phone. So when you're at the dating place, I know most of us have smartphones now. So get on that smartphone and say, hey, I'm here. Are you here? Let's meet at the front door.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So those are some of the safety tips that we came up with. Now we have some tips on just how to be successful, because, we've talked to people who have found love online and have had good, honest and positive experiences. We don't want to create and leave you with just the fear of what, could happen. So here are some of the tips that we came up with. When it comes to creating your profile on on the dating site, you certainly want your photograph to look very flattering and lovely. And one big tip, if you didn't already know, all the kids and everybody who's on, Instagram and online creating videos and stuff, they're becoming professionals when it comes to lighting and makeup and everything, to make themselves look just as amazing as celebrities. So not saying that you have to, load up the makeup and misrepresent yourself, but lighting is huge when you're taking a photograph. And they call it a halo light. It's a circular light that you may have seen on, commercials, or maybe your grandkids have these. My daughter has one, and she uses it to create her videos. And it's just a nice circular, even light that projects on your face when you're taking a photograph, or even when you're maybe online chatting with somebody. Having that nice lighting and flattering yourself is a good thing. And do your homework. We gave you a little bit of background information about those different websites and some of their features and pros and cons, but dig into each one of them yourself so that you can figure out what site will work the best for you based on what your goals are. Enlist your friends. So when creating that profile, like Rebecca was running through all the questions and how to describe yourself and such, one of the tips we came across was, ask your friends how they would describe you, because sometimes we have a hard time maybe describing ourselves and being positive, and recognizing all of our positive features and attributes. So ask your friend, what would they say? And they can help you write your profile and answer some of those questions that the dating sites ask. We've heard this funny phrase before, I'm, whatever, 6'2" and have a dog and I love long walks on the beach. That seems like one of those cliche sort of phrases. Avoid those. Those are, you're not going to get probably the interest in the questions from prospective partners if you're using some of those kind of strange cliche terms. So you can avoid those and come up with your own original stuff to describe yourself and what you enjoy. Be open with your kids. So we think that it's important too to let your family know what you're doing. You don't you're not asking for their approval, or anything, but it's good for them to know that, hey, I'm going to be meeting up with somebody and chatting. They're going to want to know so that they can kind of help keep an eye on you as well. And then finally, be resilient. we found in talking to other people and reading about a lot of the success stories online that that you really can find love online. And maybe it's not the first 3 or 4 people that you end up meeting and talking with, but stick with it. And just like in-person dating in real life, eventually you come across the right person. And whether it's you want to be serious or just friendship, be honest and be resilient. Did you ladies have any of the information from actual users and success stories that you would want to share?
I'm having problems with my connection or something.
So I know that personally, I met my husband online. So I'm a walking success story. I also, talked to a couple of people that I know that are using dating sites online, and he was 55, and he said that, he's built friendships. He's been on quite a few dates. He's met quite a few different people. It's really finding the person that's as serious as you are at that stage of your life. I was lucky enough to find my husband who was just as serious as I was, and so now we're married, and it's been 5 years now. So that's a success.
Yes. I think
there's
that's happening.
There's other ways.
Go ahead, Sarah. I think she's having a delay.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, and there's other ways to sometimes to meet people. My story is online, but it wasn't necessarily through a dating website. I was, I guess you'd call like an early widow. But after a certain amount of time, I wanted to date again and, start over. And so I was reading online about grief and loss and different things. And I found someone who had written an article actually about that and how to rise and come back from that. And so what the person wrote, really, I didn't know at that point, really, if it was a man or a woman. It really touched me what they wrote. It was called like a blog. And so I reached out and actually just emailed and said, I just have to let you know that what you shared really touched me, helped me. And they responded with thank you, and just kind of talked about and his what he went through and experienced and stuff. And so we just started talking, more or less email back and forth, and then it just kind of blossomed into that. And now it's going on 8 years that we're married, and we found out we both lived in Indiana, and it just kind of evolved from there. So, there's all sorts of ways.
Yeah, I think it's really nice that they kind of go by the distance. When I was online dating, I definitely put that I wanted somebody in Terre Haute. And when I saw, he was literally it showed 2.4 miles away from me, which is a little weird, but it showed how close in proximity they were. And so, we met in a public place. We talked for a few days, and we went to Buffalo Wild Wings for dinner one night. We made sure to plan, a public spot. And it just grew from there. We both had the same values. We read each other's profiles and felt like it was comfortable. That was what I was looking for. So it was fun.
Yeah.
And I got to meet a whole bunch of great people, that maybe they weren't the right person for me, but they were still great people. And I created, friendships over time. So that was really fun too.
Yeah. So it's good. It sounds like, it's important to just be open and know that there are other wonderful and kind and honest people out there who are using the online site to, I'm sure that they more than outnumber the people who are catfishing and being fake nasty, and stick with it. And yeah.
I didn't run into any catfishes. I was lucky. I didn't, not a single one. So while they are out there, I don't think there's as many as there used to be.
And I think if you do the things like Zoom or, there's things you can do early on to kind of eliminate those people.
Absolutely.
And it seems like there's no reason to be lonely, like there's no reason during this pandemic time, to sit at home and, and kind of deteriorate emotionally and mentally and things. When this there is an option out there, there is an answer out there. You just have to be willing to get online and push some buttons, and don't be afraid you're going to mess anything up. It'll be okay. Or seek help, from somebody who, now Rebecca's an expert in creating a profile. So call Rebecca, she'll help you.
Gladly, I'll walk you through the whole process. I've done it quite a few times now. More than I did when I was actually
have profile writing services.
Yeah, like resume writing.
I'll say
charge for
new business endeavor.
It's a good idea. Does anybody have questions or anything that they want to ask at this time? You can chat it in. So there's like a chat feature. If you move your mouse around, it'll pops up. You can chat in a question if you wish to, or Rebecca can allow everybody to have their cameras and voice a question if you want.
Please raise your hand on the participant if you would like to be let in to ask your question live.
Yeah.
Okay. Promote. So Eileen, you have officially been promoted to panelist, which means you can now turn your camera on and you can turn on your audio. If anybody else would like to come in, there's a little button when you go to participants. You should be able to click raise hand if you would like to be live with us today.
And I'm interested to know just what people's thoughts are about online dating. Is that something, that you've ever even thought of or knew about or considered, or no?
You're more than welcome to put that in the Q&A if you have questions, or chat it in, whatever you would prefer.
To me, I hadn't really, obviously I'm married, so I did not find my husband online. We met at work. But to have that opportunity makes it seems like it opens up a whole world, and to be able to specifically designate, the features or the, attributes and things about an individual. Wow, that really, it's smart. It helps you out. It helps you quickly weed out the people who are not going to be a good fit for you. And yeah, and then to get on and to see your profile and see all of the people that are on there and the potential out there, I thought it was kind of exciting. What do you think, Eileen?
I think this was excellent. I'm so glad you did this. Of course, I've heard of it and been a little hesitant, but I think I will think about it a little more seriously since you walked us through this.
And what I found is it has truly it's evolved so much, even in the last 7 years. So I met my husband 7 years ago. And it's so evolved so much. Whenever I saw what the websites look like now, Bumble and all that, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, why didn't they have that when I was doing it? That would have been so much easier.
Yeah.
Patricia, I just let you in as a panelist since you raised your hand, so you can turn on your camera and microphone so we can hear any questions you have too. So excited that you ladies joined us today.
Okay. Well, it was interesting when you asked if anybody else has experience on this, because that's how I came to look into Westminster. Last summer, my daughter said, "Mom, you need to get a partner." And I just laughed at her. And so before I knew it, she signed me up on a site. And I
love that.
I tried it for a while, but I had so many things I had to work through. that I just canceled it. But it wasn't difficult to do it, and I never actually made contact. But one of the things, why I asked the question how hard it was to discontinue it was because my fear of getting out of it if I didn't want to do it. That was one of the biggest drawbacks. But I found out that it wasn't difficult at that time to actually get out of it. I was more concerned about they would bill me and keep billing me and not be able to get rid of that. But those were the kind, I had no experience with it ever before. So that was what I feared. But I was surprised how easy it was to use it. I saw a couple that I might make contact to it, but like I say, I just wanted to spend more time for personal growth at the time.
Wonderful. Well, maybe once you get down here to Terre Haute, maybe you'll join another one.
Oh, well, I'm thinking I'll have all the friends there I'll need.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Patricia. That's nice.
Right.
Any other
Very
questions
cool.
or concerns? Anyone else?
No.
And we recorded the session today. So if you think of anybody who would benefit from the information, we're happy to send them the YouTube link once we get it up on our YouTube page. And yeah.
Okay, good. That's good.
Now, this is the continued lineup for our sessions. We have, of course, we're going to continue to gather some information on senior living options, and everybody wants to know how much it costs. So we're going to dig into that and show some good examples of how of the costs of retirement living, and then in March can jump more into Westminster Village and see some apartments live on Coffee Talk, and talk to residents on Coffee Talk, and talk to our vendor partners on moving and right sizing and everything. So we've got a lot of great stuff to come yet on Coffee Talk. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's another name to add to your list of people who deal with auctions. He purchased the auction house on Maple Avenue in Terre Haute. His name is Craig Kettner, and he's an electrician by trade, but he's very innovative in terms of doing things online, and just it might be someone that someone needs to make a contact with, because I would certainly trust him. And in fact, yesterday I heard someone shoveling my walk out in front, and it was one of his employees. He knew my husband, and he knew I was living alone, and I've seen him occasionally out, but I thought that was so sweet. So he's kind of a nice, kind guy. And I think you need to put him on your list of people that might be available to help us downsize.
Yeah.
I've written the name down, that's for sure.
Pardon?
I have the name written down, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Oh, thank you, Eileen, for sharing. Yeah, wow. That's awfully kind and thoughtful. We like those kind of people. Awesome. Well, we're 4 minutes after 11. We got really excited about that topic and had a lot to share. So thank you all for hanging with us on Coffee Talk. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, we go from one view to the view at 11 o'clock. Have you ever watched The View?
No.
Yeah, it's an interesting show. Take care, ladies.
Oh, enjoy.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.